Library Trenton. Thank you for joining me for Storytime today. We are going to talk about apples. Our first book is going to be one of my favorites. It is called Apple Pigs by Ruth Orbach. Once in our garden there stood an old tree, no blossom, no leaves, no fruit for me. Some people said, chop it down, sell it for firewood up in town. But the tree had a secret that only I shared. It whispered to me that nobody cared. I care, I said, and I will do my best. All right, said the tree, then I will do the rest. So I cleared away rubbish. I raked and I hoed. I planted some flowers and I kept the grass mowed. When the spring came, bringing warm sun and rain, my tree stood tall and proud again. The branches grew leaves as never before, and that wasn't all. There was still to be more. Branches and leaves, blossoms and apples at last. At first they were small, but they grew very fast. Plenty of apples, delicious to eat, juicy and crunchy, crisp and sweet. The more we ate, the more they grew. We began to wonder just what to do. We ate apples for breakfast, sliced on toast. We ate apples on Sunday, baked with our roast. Apples for dinner, apples for tea. So many apples, we all agreed. We just couldn't eat them. Too many, we said, so we stored them under the biggest bed. We packed them in baskets and boxes and trunks. We stuffed them in cupboards and up in the bunks. The bathtub was full, the basin piled high. They hung from the ceiling like clouds from the sky. The more we ate, the more they grew. The more we wondered, what were we going to do? The apples were lying all over the ground. More baskets and boxes just could not be found. We wrapped them in blankets, we wrapped them in rugs, we piled them in wagons, in bowls and jugs. They fell from the ceilings and rolled to the floor, and still my tree grew more and more. Women and men, girls and boys, hippo and yak, what a noise! We sang and danced and sang some more, and then ate apples by the score. Apple fritters, apple cakes, apple custard Father made, apple strudel, apples dried, apple pigs were Mother's pride. As for me, I loved to bake. I started off with apple cake, then toffee apples hung up high, apple pandowdy and Dutch apple pie. Some ate the cores, some ate the peelings, some ate apples right from the ceiling. Soon the apples were no more. We had gobbled them up, our whole store. At last we heard, goodbye, good night. If that's, we'd like to come again, if that's all right. So now each year we have a feast for man and bird and woolly beast. I hope next year at summer's end you'll come again and bring a friend. And that's the end. On the back of this book, you will find how to make your very own apple pig. We are going to do a rhyme. We have 5 animals. We are going to put them in different positions on the barn. So, can you count to 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you ready? All right. 5 animals living on the farm. Dog walked to the barn, and that left 4. So dog walked to the barn. Yeah, that's right. 4 animals living on the farm. Cow went to lay in the shade under a tree, and that left 3. So Cow went to lay in the shade under a tree. Good job. 3 animals living on the farm. Pig found the biggest apple to chew, and that leaves 2. The biggest apple. Do you see apples? There it is. That's the biggest apple. 2 animals living on the farm. Sheep went for a run between 2 trees, and that left 1. Sheep needs to go for a run between 2 trees. Right there, between 2 trees, and that left 1. 1 animal living on the farm. Rooster went on top the barn to sit in the sun, and that leaves none. Rooster goes on top the barn to sit in the sun. Good job. The next book we are going to do is called Apple Trouble. This one is about a little hedgehog who gets things stuck on his back, and he doesn't like it. So it causes him a lot of trouble. Are you ready? Hedgehog had just finished building her winter nest under the old apple tree. Not too large, not too small, just right for a long winter's nap. Suddenly, a juicy apple landed plop right on her back. "Ow!" said Hedgehog. She curled up into a spiny ball, hoping it would fall off, but when she uncurled, that juicy red apple was still there. Hedgehog tried to squeeze herself, and the apple, it just stuck. No, she could not with the apple on her back, get into her nest. Her nest was too small. Squirrel scurried past with an armful of brown nuts, but he stopped to help, and he pushed and he struggled and he heaved and he tugged. But the juicy red apple stayed where it was. Worse still, 3 of Squirrel's brown nuts got stuck to Hedgehog's spine. So now she had a juicy red apple and 3 brown nuts on her back. "Oh dear," said Hedgehog, "winter is coming and I can't get into my nest. What will I do?" "Try rolling on your back," said Pig. "That'll get rid of all of it." So Hedgehog rolled on her back, but that didn't help. She pattered to the pond. She gazed in her reflection. "Hello, Hedgehog." That's a lot of stuff stuck on your back," said the frog. "Huh, I know," said Hedgehog, "and I'm trying to get rid of it." "Well, maybe you should go for a dive," said the frog. "That will wash it right off your back." So Hedgehog dipped a foot into the water and then dived in. With a splash, her friends watched Hedgehog bobbing up and down, the juicy red apple, the 3 brown nuts, a small green pear that she'd somehow picked up, the brown crumpled leaf, and the colorful piece of paper were stuck. And so now was a pink water lily stuck on her back. "Glug, glug, glug," said Hedgehog as the others helped and pulled her out of the water. She did look a little funny. But Hedgehog did not find it funny. "Stop laughing," she sputtered, and she stamped her foot. "Where am I going to sleep?" Pig and Squirrel, they looked worried. And even Frog. "I do have one last idea," oinked Pig. "Squeeze through the hedge over there. That'll brush everything off your back." So Hedgehog squeezed her eyes shut and pushed herself through the leaves. But did it get everything off of her back? No, it did not. It was all still there, and so were 4 ripe blackberries, and there, staring at her with a look of surprise, stood Goat. "Oh," said Goat, "you brought lunch." "Help yourself," said Hedgehog. "In fact, take it all." "Yippee," said Goat. Then he picked off and he ate the juicy red apple, the 3 brown nuts, the small green pear, the pink water lily, and the 4 ripe blackberries. For dessert, he ate the paper. The only thing he left was the crumpled brown leaf. He just couldn't eat any more. "Hooray," said Hedgehog. She felt as light as a feather. "Thank you, Goat," she said. And then she ran as fast as her little legs could carry her, through the gate, past the pond, across the orchard, under the tree, and home to her nest. Hedgehog squeezed into her little nest. It fit perfectly, and it was the best nest ever. Outside, a cold wind blew, and just then another apple fell off the tree. But it didn't fall on Hedgehog. She was safe in her nest and fast asleep. Well, that was cute, wasn't it? She finally got to fit back in her nest. Thank you very much for coming to Storytime with me today. Remember to keep reading. See you next time.